The 5 excuses that will prevent 98% of people that's listening to me right now from turning $10 into $500,000 in less than 2 years. I'm Dreyer, I'm the Chief Scientist here at the Wealth Creators Method, and welcome to the 500K Challenge, where our goal is to educate and train at least 1,000 people to be able to turn less than $10 and turn it into $500,000 by applying the Wealth Creator Strategy. The Wealth Creator Strategy is the intelligent use of limited resources to go from where you are to where you want to be in the shortest possible time with the least amount of risk. And risk is when you do not know what you're doing. Now, that simply means that the majority of people have got no idea how to turn this $10 into $500,000 over a very short period of time. So I've got a webinar, and I want to invite you to that webinar called the 500K Challenge, where I'm going to take you through the process and share with you the 4 disruptive profit secrets that you need to know in order to be able to do it. But for today, I'd like to share with you the 5 excuses that's going to prevent the majority of people from achieving their goals and therefore their dreams. By the way, I'm going to give you then also the solution so that you can see that the solution that is not difficult, on condition that you are willing to take the responsibility and put in the time and the effort. So it's not going to be easy, but if you are willing to do what you need to do, you'll be able to get exactly the same results. The first excuse is, I can't do it. I've heard this excuse so many times that it's unreal. But the moment that you say, I can't do it, what do you actually mean with that? Do you know that no one, when we start, no one knows how to do it? We have to learn the skills in order to be able to do whatever we want to do and whatever we want to achieve. And those skills, there's only 4 high-value financial skills that we need to get into. And you don't even need to know and master all 4 of these. But the basic skill is the mental skill. So a high-value mental skills. And the moment that you say, but I can't do this, you're taking yourself out of the race. If you are willing to put in the time and the effort to learn this skill, then there's almost nothing that you can't do. And one of the things that you will definitely do in a very short time is to turn this $10 into as much as you really want, depending on how much effort you are willing to put into this in order to learn the skills to go through the different levels. By saying, I can't do it, mentally, you are taking yourself out of the race. The second excuse is, I don't have the time. Let me ask you a question. Do you really not have time? How much time do you spend watching social media? Or on YouTube, where you're watching this video, or on Facebook, or that you spend watching news or reading the news. If you take all of that time, you're going to find that you've got more than enough time. Let's say we make a deal. I'll give you $1 million, but the condition of that is that you put 1 hour per day aside where you do absolutely nothing. In other words, you clock in, you don't spend any time on social media, you do not take your cell phone with you, do not take your computer or anything with you. You simply sit and do nothing for 1 hour. But if you do that for a year, someone miraculously is going to give you $1 million for doing that. But here's the deal. The moment that you skip 1 single day, then that deal is off the table. I'm sure that most of you will suddenly find the time to take 1 hour, do nothing, in order to collect that. So what if you invest 1 hour per day to develop yourself? I guarantee you that within a year, you'll have more than $1 million. By just productively and effectively take that time that you create. Maybe over lunchtime, you allocate that hour. Maybe it's at night. But for $1 million, I'm sure that the majority of people will find the time. And therefore, this excuse is, I do not have time, for 99.9% of the population is not valid. How do you overcome this? Mentally, you have to prepare. And mentally, you have to change your attitude to say that I will make the time and I will find the time. And then make sure that you take action in order to make that a reality, and then start investing in yourself. So what's the third one? Yeah, but I'm not educated. Do you think that education just falls out of the sky? If you know what you want, then you're going to educate yourself in order to know that you need to know. But here's a problem with education. Education in itself means absolutely nothing. So you can know everything in the world, but if you do not have the skills to apply that, then that education is useless. And we need to, again, change our mindset and focus on the skills instead of the education. I used to fly helicopters. How do you think do I become a helicopter, or you become a helicopter pilot? Do you think that I'm educated and that I know how to? No, it's got nothing to do with education. It's got to do with the skills. Am I prepared to put in the time and the effort? Now, the fastest way to educate yourself, in other words, to get the skill, is to get a mentor. I would not risk my life in getting into a chopper, even though I may know everything about that chopper. And even if I read everything that I can about the chopper, and even if I watch every YouTube video that I can about the chopper, and do all the research in the world, and I can pass the most difficult exam by having that knowledge, in other words, being educated, I'm not going to get into that helicopter without the help of an instructor or a mentor. Why? Because I know that there's a massive difference. I see people say to me, Hannes, but how do you do that? You do that by going through the process. There's always a process that you need to master. And by mastering the process, you're gaining the skill. So you can sit right next to me after you've got all this education on how to fly a chopper. You can sit right next to me and I can instruct you exactly what to do. But the moment that I say, okay, you've got the controls, I guarantee you that you will not be able to fly with all that education. So one of the things that I want you to do is to get rid of this idea that I need to get education. People are conditioned to get an education in order to get a degree, in order to get a job. A job is not going to teach you the 4 high-value skill sets: the high-value mental skill, the high-value income skill, the high-value business skill, and the high-value investment skill. And without at least the high-value investment skill, my friend, I guarantee you, you will not be able to know and to execute $10 and turn it into 500,000 and then into millions. It's not going to be possible. So let go of that thing, I am not educated enough, or I do not have enough education. That education is what keeps the majority of people from achieving their goals. We need the skills, and all skills are teachable and trainable. So I can get the instructor, and by following the right information and get the right information in the right order for where I am as a helicopter pilot, I can learn the skills without crashing that thing into the ground. Exactly the same thing is true if you want to turn this $10 into $500,000. You have to learn the skill. But you have to learn the skill, or the easiest way is to get a mentor that has done it several times and that can take you through the process, just like with that helicopter. Exactly the same thing. And if it does not work out, guess what? You can only lose $10. And that is how you do risk management. Right, not what other people and the educational system tells you, because their job is not to make you rich. Their job is to keep you into their system. Okay, so what's the fourth one? I don't have the money. Do you think that by far the majority of successful, super successful, millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires, do you think that they started and someone gave them money? No, here's the trick. If you've got the skill sets, you don't need money to make money. In other words, I can turn this $10, and you'll see if you attend that webinar, that at the moment we're in week 18, I think, and we're over $110,000 already, and the total investment was actually $6.52. So you don't need money. So what do you need? You need the skills. In order to be able to do the skills, you have to apply the first skill set, which is the high value mental skills. If you are not prepared to change your attitude and therefore your belief systems, there's no ways that you're going to start. You're going to find these excuses, and the excuses will be, I don't have the money. Now, here's another thing. In one of the curriculums that we've got, the Rainmaker skill, with the Rainmaker skill, we teach our students that you do not need money. You have to start a business with no money, with no security. You cannot rely on someone else to give you the money. You can't use financial structures and credit loans accounts and, or go to the bank and use other people's money or other people's effort. You have to start that business with no money, because the moment that you know how to do it once, you take the same skill and you apply it to income. You apply the same skill to business. You apply the same exact skill to turn $10 into $500,000. But it's a skill that you have to learn. And here's another thing. The more skills you've got, the less money you need. Up to a point where you never ever in your life need money in order to make money. It's a myth. They are busy lying to you because they want you to invest like $1 million to make maybe $100,000 per year. It is a lie and it is a myth. And as long as you keep on believing that, you will not get to learn the skills to do it yourself. So what's the fifth one? But I've got no experience. So how do you gain experience? You gain experience by actually doing. And the trick to gain experience is not to take risk. So risk is when you do not know what you're doing. So if you do not know what you're doing, you can lose money like this. But if there's a process that you can follow to learn the skills, and the only risk, financial risk that you take is a maximum of $10, then it's worthwhile to learn that skill. What is experience? It's actually the competency that you want. So competency is by applying that you've learned, in other words, applied knowledge, or that you're busy learning. And it's always a process. The second thing is you're gaining experience by actually doing. There you see what's working, what is not working. And then lastly, that is going to build the skills. So the moment that you build the skill, that is a process that you have to follow. But the moment that you've got the skill, you'll be able to do and repeat that skill over and over. For example, the Rainmaker's startup skill, I can apply in generating income. I can apply it in starting a business with no money. I can start it with my cryptocurrency portfolio. I can start it by buying as many properties as I want without costing me a cent ever in my life. Why? Because I've got the skill. But without that skill, it is simply not possible. So what are these 5 excuses and how do they affect your life? Maybe in the comment section below. Let me know, how have they kept you from achieving your dreams? And how did they keep you from having a life of abundance and where you can do what you want? We call it freedom. Where you can do what you want, when you want, where you want, how you want, whenever you want, without worrying about money. I've been in a very lucky position because I've learned these skills at a relative young age. At 30, I started understanding this. And by 37, we were financially free. And for the last, I don't know how many years, we are living a life of abundance. And my job is to contribute, to give back, and to help you to be able to do the same. And the best way that I know of is to give you the skills to turn $10 into at least $500,000, because the moment that you do that, you know how to create, to grow, and to protect your wealth and your money without taking any risk. So in the comment section, let me know your thoughts on this. Also, there's a webinar. If you haven't attended that webinar, it's called the 500K Challenge Masterclass. Click on that link and then make sure to book your seat, and not only to book your seat, but to pitch up, because I can almost assure you that your life will change on condition that you are prepared to take the responsibility to learn the skills, because in that webinar, I'm immediately going to start teaching the skills that you need to have if you want to take less than $7 and turn it into millions. Right, and then also, please like this. It will help the algorithm to spread this word to more people. And then also subscribe if you haven't done so. Click that bell icon so that you'll be the first to know the moment that I do a training video like this. And then, of course, I will see you in that webinar.